All right, now personnel, we are going to pick up the clock here momentarily. And Gillis, you can do the clock in your mouth. Copy that. Count my clock over 2 on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
T-minus. Camera check and work. Firing chain is armed. Let's go for main air.
Go.
10, 9,
Go.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Go.
Houston now controlling the flight of Atlantis. The space shuttle spreads its wings one final time for the start of a sentimental journey into history. 24 seconds into the flight, roll program complete. Atlantis now heads down, wings level on the proper alignment for its 8.5-minute ride to orbit. 4.5 million pounds of hardware and humans taking aim on the International Space Station. 40 seconds into the flight, the 3 liquid fuel main engines throttling back to 72% of rated performance in the bucket, reducing stress on the shuttle as it goes transonic for the final time.
So this is the
Engines now revving up, standing by for the throttle
orbiter, one of the solid rocket boosters, and the external fuel tank. And there's the shadow of the exhaust plume spreading on the clock.
Oh.
There's what you see.
Go ahead, throttle up, no action, DPDT. No action, no DPDT.
That call from Capcom Barry Wilmore, a transducer, instrumentation only, no action required. Atlantis now 15 miles in altitude, already 16 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 1 minute 40 seconds into the flight. Atlantis flexing its muscles one final time. Atlantis traveling almost 2,600 miles an hour, 21 miles in altitude, 24 miles downrange, standing by for solid rocket booster separation.
At about the 2-minute point, we'll jettison the 2 solid rocket boosters. So that's coming up right now.
Booster officer confirms staging a good solid rocket booster separation. Guidance now converging. The main engine steering the shuttle on a pinpoint path to its preliminary orbit. 2 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight. Atlantis already traveling 3,200 miles an hour, 35 miles in altitude, 50 miles downrange. The propulsion officer reports the orbital maneuvering system engines have ignited. Atlantis kicking on its afterburners for 1 minute, 23 seconds for the final phase of powered flight.
Atlantis, 2-engine tail.
That means they could still land with 2 engines safely.
That call meant that if they lose 1 engine, if they lose 2 engines at this point, they can still make it to the other side of the Atlantic and land in Spain or Morocco. So that's always good news. They have a place to return to.
Is that it?
So the astronauts that have flown on the shuttle before, they always say one of the remarkable things is the first 2 minutes when the solid rocket boosters are going, it's very rough, lots of vibrations. It's like being in a car wreck, they liken it to. As soon as the solids are gone, it's just smooth as silk the rest of the way to orbit. And they build up
there. However, Atlantis' three engines performing perfectly.
Fraction of a second, they're weightless once they get
4 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight.
Very impressive feeling.
Atlantis currently traveling 5,500 miles an hour, 62 miles in altitude, almost 200 miles downrange.
Did you see the foam shedding?
Saw that.
I saw
4
it.
minutes of powered flight remaining. Atlantis speeding straight as an arrow toward its date with the International Space Station Sunday morning. Coming up on the 5-minute mark. Atlantis now traveling 6,500 miles an hour, 66 miles in altitude, 250 miles downrange.
Atlantis, press to ATO.
That call indicating we can make minimal orbital targets in the event of an engine failure. All three engines continue to function normally. Atlantis will begin its slow roll to a heads-up position shortly.
My favorite call is Preston Nico.
5.5 minutes into the flight, Atlantis traveling 7,700 miles an hour, 315 miles downrange.
Atlantis, single engine op 3.
Oh.
And the guidance officer here at Mission Control confirms that the computers are commanding the main engines to swivel.
Zaragoza, 104.
We've rolled to a heads-up position now, providing better communications to the tracking and data relay satellite system as Atlantis heads uphill. 6 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight.
Atlantis, press to Nico.
Oh, there it is.
That call indicates that we can make our normal orbital cutoff targets in the event of an engine failure. However, all three main engines continue to function normally.
Oh, Buggy, go to plus X, go to pitch.
The plus X maneuver the last time.
That call indicating that we will be in good shape for the orientation of Atlantis for external tank photography following main engine cutoff. Now 7 minutes into the flight.
I think
1 minute, 20 seconds till main engine cutoff. Atlantis traveling 12,000 miles an hour. The main engines will soon be throttling down once again to limit the stress on the shuttle and its 4 crew members to that of 3 times the effective gravity. Atlantis currently traveling at a speed of more than 4 miles a second. 1 minute of powered flight remaining for Atlantis. Three good main engines, 3 good auxiliary power units, 3 good fuel cells. Approaching the 8-minute mark into the flight. Atlantis now traveling more than 15,000 miles an hour. Eight minutes, 15 seconds into the flight, standing by for main engine cutoff. That'll be followed a few seconds later by the separation of the external fuel tank. Booster officer confirms main engine cutoff. For the last time, the space shuttle's main engines have fallen silent as the shuttle slips into the final chapter of a storied 30-year adventure. Now standing by for external tank separation. Atlantis off the tank. Commander Chris Ferguson will be maneuvering Atlantis now into an orientation to enable Sandy Magnus to capture digital still imagery of the external fuel tank as it drifts away.
OMS 1 is not required. Your preliminary OMS 2 TIG, 37 minutes.